So let's talk about multi-cloud. It's one of those huge buzzwords in tech, but it's also, one of the most misunderstood. So many people fall into this trap of asking if they should do multi-cloud, but that's the wrong question. The real question is when you should do it and how. If you get it right, you'll accelerate like crazy. But if you get it wrong, well, you might just sink your entire company.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, I want you to think about a simple analogy. Are you building a simple backyard shed, or are you building a massive skyscraper? I mean, think about it. The blueprints, the materials, the team, the entire approach, it's all fundamentally different, right? Using a skyscraper's plan for a shed isn't just overkill, it's a complete recipe for disaster.
And that's exactly the same logic we need to apply to our cloud strategy. If you're a startup, you're building that shed. You need it to be fast and functional. If you try to adopt a complex, enterprise-grade blueprint, it's like trying to pour a skyscraper's foundation. It's just going to be slow, incredibly expensive, and totally unnecessary for what you need right now.
Which brings us to the most crucial point we're going to explore today. You've got to frame multi-cloud as a tool, not as a goal in and of itself. It's not a destination. It's a strategic choice you make to solve very specific business problems, things like managing risk, or hitting tough performance goals, or satisfying regulators. It is not something you do just for the tech.
Okay, let's dive into stage one, the startup blueprint. At this stage, really, there's only one metric that truly matters, and that is speed. It is an all-out race to find product-market fit, and literally every single second counts.
I mean, just picture the reality of a startup, right? You've probably got a small, scrappy team. The budget is super tight, and you needed to ship your product like yesterday. You don't have a compliance department or a deep bench of operations experts. The only thing that truly matters is velocity.
So what's the blueprint here? It's all about radical simplicity. My advice? Pick one cloud provider and just go all in. And then leverage their managed services. Things like RDS for your databases or SQS for your queues. Use them as much as humanly possible. Why? Well, because every minute your developers spend messing with infrastructure is a minute they're not spending building your actual product.
And this right here, this is the number one trap for startups. It's premature optimization. I see it all the time. Teams building these incredibly complex, cloud-agnostic abstraction layers before they even have a single paying customer. It is a fatal distraction. You have to solve the problems you have today, not the ones you might have in 5 years.
All right, so let's move on. You've survived the startup phase, which is huge. You've found product market fit, and now you're what we call a scale-up. The game is changing. The challenges, and honestly the stakes, are changing really fast.
Your engineering team is growing, which, is a great problem to have until it's not. Suddenly, coordination is a real challenge. Uptime isn't just a nice-to-have anymore, it's an absolute requirement. An outage isn't just a minor hiccup, it's a major incident that affects paying customers. And this is usually when you start hearing the first whispers of needing a platform team.
So naturally, the blueprint has to evolve. Now, you're not going full-blown multi-cloud, running everything everywhere. That would be crazy. Instead, you start to adopt what's called a primary plus secondary model. So maybe you run your core application on AWS, but you decide to use Google Cloud's BigQuery for analytics because, hey, it's the best tool for that job. It's all about surgical, intentional expansion. The key danger here is just chaos. Without a clear strategy, you might have different teams starting to use different clouds for totally different reasons, and that leads to what we call uncoordinated cloud sprawl. You're basically just adding a ton of complexity without a clear business case, and that can slow you right down just when you need to be speeding up.
And now, we finally arrive at the skyscraper, the enterprise blueprint. This is the big leagues. We're talking about massive, global organizations, often dealing with decades of legacy systems and this incredibly complex web of regulations.
I mean, the reality for an enterprise is a completely different world. Decisions aren't just about the best technology anymore. They're about managing vendor risk, satisfying auditors, integrating with 20-year-old on-premise systems, and trying to enforce formal governance across maybe thousands of engineers. It's a whole different beast.
So for an enterprise, multi-cloud isn't something that just sort of happens to you. It is a deliberate, strategic choice. The goal is to build an internal paved road, a platform that lets all your different product teams easily and securely consume services from multiple clouds so they can choose the best tool for the job every single time. But, and this is a huge but, there is a massive risk here. If that internal platform is too restrictive, If it only exposes the lowest common denominator features that happen to work across all clouds, it can completely stifle innovation. Your best developers will feel constrained, and they'll start to lose trust in the very platform that was meant to help them. It's a really, really difficult balance to strike.
Okay, so we've looked at the 3 distinct blueprints. Let's do a little recap and put them side by side. This is where you can really see how your organizational reality should be dictating your cloud strategy.
Just look at the differences here. It's pretty stark. A startup has super high risk tolerance and a very short-term horizon. It's all about speed, whatever it takes. An enterprise is the complete polar opposite. Super low risk tolerance, a very long-term view. They have to prioritize stability and governance. And the scale-up? Well, they're living in that messy, exciting, chaotic middle, trying to balance both worlds at once.
Let's make this even more concrete. Let's use an example. Say you're deploying a new global application. The startup, they're going to put everything on a single cloud provider. No questions asked. They just need to get it live, period. The scale-up, on the other hand, is going to be a bit more deliberate. They'll have their primary cloud, but they might strategically use a second provider to get closer to their users in a specific region, or maybe to build out a really robust disaster recovery plan.
And the enterprise? Well, they're designing for multi-cloud from day one. It's not an afterthought. Their architecture might place all the European user data on a specific cloud provider just to comply with data residency laws, while at the same time running their machine learning workloads on a totally different provider that has the best specialized hardware for that. It's a true portfolio approach, and it's driven by business and regulatory needs.
So after all that, what does this actually mean for you? Let's try to boil it all down to some clear, actionable advice that you can take back to your team, based on where you are on this journey today.
Okay, if you're a startup, the message is simple. Stay focused. Optimize for speed and just defer all that multi-cloud complexity for later. If you're a scale-up, you have to be intentional. Don't just drift into multi-cloud. Choose it for specific, high-value reasons. And if you're an enterprise, it's time to embrace it as a core strategy, but do it by empowering your developers through great platforms, not by restricting them with rigid mandates.
So I'll leave you with this final question. I want you to stop asking which cloud strategy is best. It's simply the wrong question to ask. The only question that really matters is the one right here on your screen. Take a hard, honest look at your organization, at your team, your budget, your risks, and figure out which blueprint your reality truly demands.